Hey there, this is Ingafay, your beauty enthusiast and confidence coach, and I am super excited to share one of my girlfriends with you who is a creative genius and texture chick out of Mobile, Alabama, Latosha Migyon. She has traveled all over the country working with different women from different ethnicities as well as different hair types and has over 25 years of experience in the hair industry. She has lived in New York as well as Georgia. And like I said earlier, she has been all over the country just helping people rock their God-given attributes. And without further ado, I am so excited to share with you my personal stylist, Latosha Migyon. So we'll see you inside. Hey, Latosha girl, so excited to have you here.
Hi, Inga. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing great, girl. So we wanted to get to know you and find out more about some hair care tips for the summer for natural hair. But before we get into that, tell us a little bit about you, who you are, who you serve, and how you serve them.
Hi, I'm Latosha Migyon, and I'm from Mobile, Alabama. And I'm also known as the Texture Chick. I am just what Inga described, a creative genius. I have experience in hair art, faux finish design, fashion design, interior design, and now I'm creating jewelry. So I'm just a creative. I love to create no matter what form or medium that I use. I just feel like I have a God-given talent and I can pretty much touch anything and it pretty much blooms or blossoms. But I have over 25 years experience in hair care, and I wanted to be an answer to a lot of people's problems. So that was my reason for going into the hair industry. I've loved it since I was a child. I knew how I wanted to perfect a curl and why I needed and how I needed hair to look in order for it to perform the way it should be. So the magazines, the television, in person, I just knew I had to be able to do that thing. And I'm at a point now where I can serve pretty much everybody. So I cater to all hair types, which sets me apart from a lot of salons because some people usually specialize in one thing, but I knew when I was in school, I had to be able to master everything: hair cutting, hair color, hair care, just anything you can name. I wanted to be able to do that across the board with women and men and children of all races.
So it sounds like you have a multitude of services that you provide. Tell us, is there a specific niche for the people that you serve, or do you pretty much serve everyone?
I serve everyone, but I specialize in natural hair care. 98% of my clientele is natural, or I should say relaxer free, because anytime you have color, it's not considered natural, it's considered a chemical service. But so I have 98% relaxer free clientele. I do relaxers, but everybody's pretty much gone natural. So, there was no other choice for me but to learn it because people are moving away from putting chemicals in their hair.
So I'm curious, why do you think your business is unique from other stylists in the area or just others in general?
Because we cater to your specific need. We're not a one-size-fit-all salon. People come in with different scenarios. It could be damage from color, damage from medication, damage from the environment. You have all the elements going on around you. It could be from swimming. It could be from a variety of things. Wearing too much of something or doing too less of a service to your hair, which starts breakage or stunts the growth or whatever that thing may be. And because I have had the experience that I've had and come across so many different scenarios with people's hair, I kind of know the problem when I see it. And me not being a dermatologist, or I'm considered a hair doctor by trade, but me not having the license to prescribe different types of medications, I refer people out, and that's where a consultation comes in. And I do a very in-depth consultation because I'll be doing a person a disservice not knowing where I can lead them and where they should go in the direction when it comes to whatever issue they're having with their hair.
So I'm curious, do you find that as something unique to you, or do most people do consultations when they meet a new client when it comes to hair care?
Well, I know several people who do consultations, but consultations are not a popular thing amongst a lot of the clients that I meet, because they come in and say, well, I've never had a consultation before. No one's ever told me this about my hair before. So that sets it apart, because I have to take a look at the scalp in order to see what's going on with the hair, because that's where it all starts. It starts on the inside. And if there's something going on with that's going to reflect your hair growth, the moisture or retention in your hair, the elasticity in your hair, the shine in your hair, the porosity. So, it makes a difference to have an in-depth consultation, because when it comes to color, I need to know what you've done in the last 6 months to a year to your hair, what's been deposited on your hair. And that can tell me how long it would approximately take for me to color your hair, or go through the entire process of your visit that particular day. Everything, I schedule my clients according to what service they're getting, so we won't run into somebody else's time, and it's an inconvenience for me to not give my full undivided attention to each and every client. So I don't cater just because you're a regular or you're a certain financial status or anything like that. Everybody gets my undivided attention each and every time. So I think that sets me apart. I don't rush or do anything speedy on anybody's hair just to get them in and get them. It's not just about the money. I actually care about your hair and what's going on with it. So I want to give you the best advice and education about your hair as I can.
Awesome. So we are in the summer right now, and I know I've gotten a lot of questions about natural hair care for the summertime. What are some natural hair care basics that you could share with us that people can implement in their regimen if they haven't already done so?
Well, the first thing I'm going to say is shampooing the hair, making sure you have a clean surface to work with. Most people of color tend to shampoo less than Caucasians or some other ethnicities, but that's the most important thing, because you have to have a clean surface in order to get rid of impurities in the hair. You have so much buildup, you have so many elements in the environment that affect the hair. I mean, there are things being sprayed. You have so much pollution from the cars or train or bus services, if you live in one of those larger cities, that affect your hair. And all these things compact onto the hair strand. So having a clean surface to work with. Keeping your hands out of your hair, because you touch everything. So you got to be aware of all the germs that you come across and bacteria that you come across. You just never know what you're putting in your hair when you touch something, because everybody doesn't wash their hands. So that's the first and foremost important thing, I think, involving any hair care for any type or any time of the year. Next is your moisture retention. With curly hair, I will say it is pretty much always dry. That's everybody's biggest issue, dryness. So keeping the hair moisturized is the second most important thing to me, because with curly hair, you produce an oil, and jojoba oil is the closest thing that mimics our own oil that we produce from our hair. But because the hair is curly, it takes longer for oil from the scalp does not reach the entire hair strand, because the hair is so curly. Whereas when you have people with straight hair, such as Caucasians, Indians, Asians, or whatever, their hair tends to build up oil really quickly because their hair strand is straight. So it gets oily really fast and weighs the hair down. So that's why they shampoo a little more often than we do, people of color. So products that you can use to improve moisture are like aloe, almond oil, coconut oil, honey, shea butter. Those things. You can make a mixture of those things and use at home. I was using several products, or have used several products from several lines, and they only seem to work temporarily. And I would have my clients coming to me saying, this only works 2 days, or this only works a week for me, and then my hair is back dry. So I was like, God, give me the ingredients to produce something that will be an answer for my clients' biggest issues, which is dryness. So, I got in the kitchen. I did my research first of all, and researched the ingredients. And then, I played, I had my rough draft ingredients, and, I tried that, and I tried it on one of my clients who had the most driest hair that I've ever dealt with. And when she came back on her second visit, I did a 2-strand twist to her hair. And when she came back on her second visit, she asked me what I used on her hair, and I was like, bam, I have come up with something. If I solve an issue for her, I have solved an issue for what most people call 4C hair, which is one of the most tightest curl patterns there is. Then, I played with my ingredients a little bit more because I had to cater to each and every hair type because I didn't want anything that was too heavy for a medium or fine texture of hair. So I also have a souffle, a curly girl souffle, which is for the finer hair. And so moisture is very important. I mean, we need water, so we need products with moisture. And that's where the aloe comes in, which is one of the ingredients in my product. We need protein. Now, protein strengthens the hair. It eliminates breakage and it restores elasticity. But eating protein grows the hair. So you need protein in two different forms for the hair and also to ingest through your mouth.
Now, let me ask you, with the protein that you're saying that we need to consume, do you have a recommendation of the type of protein it should be?
Well, it should be, if you're going to do meat, it should be white chicken breast or white turkey meat. The darker meat is not good. It's heavier, it's oilier, it weighs you down. So, and beef, I don't recommend at all because it messes with your hormonal balance. So a lot of people's diet affects the way their hair grows. Sometimes it's not hereditary just because your mom or your dad had it. It's usually hereditary eating, which then follows up with what your DNA consists of when you're born. So that's how those things tend to happen. But, some of it you just can't prevent. We are who we are composed of with our DNA. Every race is different. So there are some things that will go on with us or that may not go on with another race. So I hope that answers your question.
Okay, cool. So you told us shampoo, keep your hands out of your hair. You want to moisturize and have protein. Is there anything else as far as hair care you recommend?
Okay, so a lot of people say they want a protective style. And my thing is, what are you protecting your hair from? Is it from heat? Is it from you keeping your hands in it a lot all day? Because when you put your hand in your hair, it's like rubbing sandpaper against sandpaper. It's brittle and it will break, especially if you have hair color on top of being relaxer free as well. So I'll say natural because people are more familiar with that, but just using correct terminology is relaxer free. But I say a lot of 2-strand twist. Inga, I do that to your hair all the time. It's great for workouts. It's great for the weather because if it rains, you don't have to worry about your hair messing up. The swelling is good sometimes because it makes the hair look fuller. It's good for if you want to swim because you can detox and rinse with apple cider vinegar, purify your hair of the chlorine, and still have your style. So you don't necessarily have to disturb the hair by doing a rough shampoo. You can just kind of douse your hair with that apple cider vinegar, let it sit on there, and then rinse. With cool water, rinsing with cool water is great. Hot water bursts the cuticle open. So like if you have hair color, that's what's going to make your hair color fade quicker. So cool water in the summertime is great because you're dealing with a lot of heat. So your hair is cooking if you're out in the sun all the time, or if you have products on it. So you don't necessarily have to put direct heat on it because the sun is doing the job for you. So braids, the thing with braids is I know people pay a lot of money for braids, but I don't recommend wearing them over 3 to 4 weeks. And if you're going to do that, you need to go and have your scalp cleansed. Your braids can handle water, not necessarily a shampoo, but they can be cleansed. And then you have dry shampoos as an alternative solution. So crochet is another style that people consider protective, which is braiding down and crocheting the hair with a needle on top. Sew-ins have been an enemy to a lot of people who braid really tight or sew the hair really tight. So there is a way you can wear a sew-in without it doing so much damage to your hair, but too much of anything is not good for your hair. So your hair needs to rest in between your braids or twist or crochet or sew in. You need to shampoo and have your ends trimmed. That's another big thing why people don't see a lot of growth in their hair is because they don't trim enough, because everything that's on the outside of your hair is dead. So everything that's alive is underneath. So it's pushing out dead hair. So by the time your hair reaches from the root all the way down to the end, you've done a lot of damage and been exposed to a lot of chemicals on your hair. So it's just like a leaf or grass. When it's old, that leaf is gonna fall off and it's gonna produce a new leaf. That end has to come off because it's naturally going to split when it gets to the end. So every 6 to 8 weeks, you get a trim. A trim should only be 1/8 of an inch, and that's about the tip of my fingernail. If anybody does anything more than that, it could be you either have more damage or they're just scissor happy. So a trim should be 1/8 of an inch to 1/2 an inch, unless otherwise there's damage. So when someone's doing a trim to you, or if I'm doing a trim, I'm going to turn them around to that mirror and show them how much needs to be removed, because you can usually see through the ends and see what's damaged, because it'll start off thick, and then once you get to the end and you can see through it and feel the difference, it'll feel rough. You'll know this needs to come off in order for me to have a healthy head of hair. And so when that happens every 6 to 8 weeks or 8 to 10 weeks, you'll see your growth better. You know, some people think, oh, my hair's gone. It's not a big issue. It's going to grow even better. A mask is great for the summertime, a hair mask, because you can sit with that with a plastic cap. You can use heated dryer or what is called a steamer, which is where you'll get a hydration treatment from. And it's moist heat compared to dry heat. So you can sit up under there with your mask. You can sit up under there with a moisturizer conditioner. You can sit under there with oils. The hydration treatment is great because it's going to put the moisture into your hair. So once you go outside, your hair won't try to grab moisture from outside, especially if you're wearing a blowout or a silk press. So the moisture is already in your hair. So then your hair will tend to swell less or revert back to the curl. It's good for blood circulation to get it flowing again. It's good for shine, it's good for manageability, and it's going to stimulate that growth. Your condition while you're underneath that steamer or oils or whatever you're using is going to penetrate that entire hair follicle. It's not just going to sit on top. So that's one of the great benefits of a hair steamer. I don't suggest a dryer, but you can use that as long as you have a plastic cap on your head to keep that moisture inside. And a good source of vitamins are pretty much in your aloe, your almond oil, your coconut oil. So these ingredients are great for at-home use, for you to try and experiment with your own little concoction of whatever you may make to do a mask on your hair. So that's one of the things protein to improve the strength of your hair. So it has many benefits. So you can just alternate those things, because like I said before, too much of anything is not good. So alternate these ingredients.
So would that also be alternating styles too? I know I always have people tell me, Inga, every time I see you, got a different style.
Because you don't want to pull up too much. You don't want to pull back too much. It's going to push your hairline back or push your nape up too much. You don't want tight styles. I understand you want your edges to look good, or you want everything to be in place, but you can alternate your styles. And not a lot of rubber bands or a lot of heavy braids. If you have locks or braids or twists and they're really long, you can keep them pulled up in a loose bun or loose styles. Just don't do too much pulling, because your hair is finer around the perimeter of your hair. And depending on what you have going on, some people may have their fine spots in the crown of their head. So don't do too much heavy-handedness around your edges or the perimeter of your hair. I just like to switch up, because if you have the hair going in the direction too much on one side or the other, that's going to be too much tension there as well. So switching up is a good thing. If you don't know how to do it, that's what I'm here for. Get you a great stylist who's educated and knowledgeable in the area of hair care as well as styling, who can give you the best advice on what you should do for your hair type.
Awesome. Okay. So I wanted to also give you the opportunity to tell us about where you see yourself in 5 to 10 years from now. It sounds like you got a lot going on and you love helping people with their hair and just having that creative eye. So with all of that said, what's your vision for the next 5 to 10 years? And how can we help you?
So I feel like I want to teach more hair care because I have so many requests from so many different places and I can't be in all these places at one time. So I'd rather start teaching people the business and everything that I know inside and out so I can help them service people in more areas, especially along the Gulf Coast, because down here I can say we're a little behind times on some things, but that's where people like me come into play. I'm always going to be where there's a need. I mean, I've lived in New York, I lived in Atlanta. Those people are accustomed to natural hair and have been doing it a very, very long time. So, I recently trained in Oregon, and the salon that I train in, all of the Caucasian women had curly hair. So I felt like I was at a natural Caucasian salon and I learned so many things. Some things that I didn't even learn in school. The education always continues, it never stops. So I experienced some of the same issues that I deal with my clients. There, it's the same thing with curly hair, same thing with straight hair, as if you had with us a relaxer. So those things go hand in hand with one another. So I want to teach. I won't necessarily say I want to open a school, but I would love to travel and teach people that way in classes or have online classes. I'm pretty busy, but I'm trying to set those things up and work my way from behind the chair so I can carry out these duties that I have that I want to do. And eventually, maybe write a book or make a movie or, have a reality show. There's so many avenues I can take with this. So I'm just ready to do all those things because I've been doing this for almost 30 years now and I'm ready to do something different because I have my art that I do. I'm into jewelry making. So, I want to get past my skills down to someone else so they can pass the baton to others and then it can be, world hair care. And not just a local thing. So that's what I'm looking forward to in the next 5 to 10 years.
Love it. I love it. I love it. Cool. All right. So before we end, do you have any final thoughts you would like to share with us?
I guess I would say be cautious of the things that you're eating and the things that you intake, because it has an effect on your entire body. Right now, I'm into wellness from head to toe, inside and out, because it starts inside. Everything that you put inside is going to produce what comes outside, and that includes your hair and your skin. So we want to keep elasticity in there. It's important to have collagen in your diet, in your hair products, in your skin products. It is important that you read ingredients. If it's something you can't pronounce, that thing usually doesn't need to be in you or on you. Do your research and read, and don't just use anything just because a celebrity endorses it or, it's just the packaging looks good. You gotta read because as they say, if it's something they don't want you to know, put it in fine print. Most people, tend to look over that thing because they like the way something smells or they like the way something feels, because it affects you in the long run. There's too much disease and everything going on in this world, and it's not just by happenstance. It's all of a sudden, and it's a lot of people in all regions of the earth. So, I just want you to be aware of those things and take care of that body and take care of that mind.
Awesome. Well, we are so excited that you were able to share with us today. I wanted to share your website with everyone. So if they are interested in getting in contact with you, they can. To have a consultation like you talked about, the importance of having that consultation to determine how you can help them with their hair. I know that when you did that to me, I was just like, I've never had anybody do that. I just think that it was just so awesome. And to me, that made you stand out. I know we didn't talk about one of the things that were unique to you, but that was personally for me, that's what stood out to me, that I actually had a consultation, that you wanted to see my hair first before you started putting a whole bunch of stuff on it. So I just wanted to say thank you for that.
You're welcome. And I'm glad I was able to show you something new.
Yes, for sure. For sure. So if you guys want to get in touch with Latosha, be sure to connect with her via this link. And I'm sure that she will take care of you and provide so much value to you that you probably will not want to go to another stylist like me. I get so many people to ask me, Inga, who does your hair? And I send them to Tasha without a doubt. She knows I send them right over to him. So I'm so appreciative to you. Thanks again for sharing your value and your time with us. And as always, you all, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye for now.
All right. Have a good day.